Thank you so much. I'm just gonna work on sharing my screen. So if you guys can give me a minute, and we'll try to get everything up. Okay, can you see the presentation okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, hi everyone. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to talk a little bit about how to build your academic network. So, my name is Jess Ventura. I work on the graduate recruitment team at UC Merced, so the University of California, Merced. I'll tell you a little bit about our campus before we actually jump into the content for today's session. In addition to myself, we actually have on my colleague, Jesse Hernandez. He's also part of our recruitment team. So I'll let Jesse say hello to everyone as well.
All right, good morning, everyone. Over here it is morning for us. And then, yeah, my name's Jesse Hernandez. I am the graduate recruitment specialist, and I am about 3 months into this position here at UC Merced. So I'm also learning more about the campus and also learning to connect with all the faculty peers and other graduate representatives throughout the department.
Thanks, Jesse. So for today, we just have a couple slides. First, we want to tell you about our campus. So hopefully, we'll share some important information with you. But if our campus sounds interesting to you, we would love to connect with you afterwards and also just talk about opportunities specifically to UC Merced. So Jesse and I work for the graduate division at the University of California, Merced. For those of you who have never heard of us, that's totally okay. We are the newest campus within the UC system. So we were established in 2005, and we're located in kind of right smack dab in the middle of Northern California. So if you've ever been to San Francisco, we're about 2 hours inland from there, or we're about 2 hours south of Sacramento, which is the capital of California. And we love to say that Yosemite is in our backyard. So the entrance to Yosemite is about an hour away from our campus. And you could kind of see this mountain range in the back of campus. And that's kind of the beginning of the Sierra Nevada mountains. And we have all kinds of research that happens up there and things, really cool stuff that's happening. So like I mentioned, Jesse and I work in the graduate division. So really our job is to help students from the time that they are thinking about going to graduate school up until when they actually graduate. So our department oversees things like funding, admissions, or like we're doing today, connecting with prospective students. Um, our campus, currently, we have about 738 graduate students, and we are really rising in the rankings. So this year we were ranked #1 by the Wall Street Journal for advancing social mobility. So what that means is when students come to us in the beginning of the academic journey from where they graduate, they really make this huge jump in their job opportunities and kind of the economic space that they are in their life after they graduate from us. In addition to that, we've jumped in other rankings. We're now number 18 among US universities in the United States by the Wall Street Journal. And the US News and World Report says that we're number 26 among the public schools in the nation. And we are very excited because we are just celebrating this right now. Recently, in about the last 2 weeks, we can officially say we are an R1 university. So, being at right around 20 years old, we're really excited. We're the fastest university to ever do this. But we are proud to be an R1, and that's really kind of changing the types of research that's happening on our campus. So I think for all of you, as you are exploring graduate schools, maybe for next year and the next couple years, think about us here at UC Merced. We're able to offer smaller programs. So really on our campus, you kind of get this private school feel, but you are part of the University of California, which is considered the most prestigious public university system in the world. We also are a growing campus. So earlier we kind of shared a photo of our campus. We actually own a lot more land. And so in the coming years, our campus will still be growing and we'll be opening up our medical education building in 2026. A hallmark of our campus is that we do interdisciplinary research. So really, when we were thinking of how we wanted research to happen on the graduate school level at UC Merced, we really know that changes and advancements in science don't happen if you're just pigeonholed in kind of one lab with one focus. And so you'll find that our faculty are actually part of multiple graduate groups, and our labs are open concept labs. So really kind of lending to that collaborative atmosphere and hopefully making some big changes in science. At UC Merced, we offer a full funding PhD commitment. So that means if you're a PhD student and you get admitted to the university, we are going to make a commitment to fully funding you. That means your tuition is covered, you get a living stipend, and you get health insurance. That health insurance includes medical, dental, and vision through the University of California. And finally, I already mentioned this, but just remember, if you're at UC Merced, you're part of this larger network. So when you graduate, your diploma is going to say University of California. And that kind of lending, I guess, to segueing into the topic for today is building your network and how important it is, to have that network. And so if you are part of UC Merced, you're part of this larger network of the UC family. So with that, we'll kind of go into today's topic, and that is why build your network? Why should you care about networking? And how important is it? So I have a little quote here at the bottom. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so for those of you who are especially considering going to graduate school, or even if graduate school is not right for you and you're going to go into the job field once you graduate, really your network is going to be the difference between a good opportunity and a great opportunity. So why build your network? Well, it's going to open doors to research and opportunities, mentorship, and career guidance. Again, it helps you stay informed about academic and professional opportunities. And then also over time, you're going to strengthen your confidence in how you talk to people and how you can, collaborate and connect with others. So really, I think so much of, taking that next step after your undergraduate years, a lot of it is not about what you know, but unfortunately, sometimes it's about who you know. And so hopefully today you're going to walk away with a couple tips and tricks to make you feel confident to start building out those networks. So on the graduate school level, we'll talk about faculty connections and why it's so important to be making those connections right now when you're in your undergrad. So when you apply to graduate school, there's going to be a couple of things that you're going to need. And one of those for your applications are going to be your letters of recommendation. And it really, really looks good when you can get letters of recommendation from faculty that you've either taken classes with or done research with, and from faculty who can actually speak about you specifically, that know you and aren't writing you this generalized letter. And so for those of you who are in your undergrad, my advice to you is starting today, take these take these tips and start to apply them with your professors. And that's going to be what helps you when it comes time to go to graduate school. So what can you do? Start to identify the right faculty members that you want to connect with. So that could be at your current institution. You can start to talk to your professors that you really connect with, that you know if you want to go into grad school in the future, can speak about your academic and research abilities to succeed in a program. And then on the flip side, you're also going to want to identify faculty members at the institutions you will be applying to. So students are always asking, how do I stand out in my graduate school application? Well, my top trick is always reach out to those faculty who you would see being your mentor in graduate school. That automatically puts you on a kind of on a leg up from the other students who did it. And you have to remember that graduate school, the application process is really more of a qualitative process versus quantitative. So they're going to look at you holistically. And part of that holistic review is fit. How do you fit with who your advisor would be? And really, the only way for a prospective advisor to kind of know that and to determine how you would fit with them is for them to talk to you. So my advice is always read the recent work and publications of anybody who you could see being your advisor in graduate school and send them an email. Let them know that you are interested in their work and you admire what they're doing and that you would be interested in possibly being their graduate student in the future. That's probably that top tip right there. That's going to help you stand out from every other student who didn't do that when you're applying to graduate school. Second, back to kind of where you're at right now in your undergrad, make sure that when you're in class that you are being engaged, that you're talking to your professors, that you're attending office hours, and that you're sending any kind of follow-up. And that's really going to help you when it comes time for that letter of recommendation. Other things that you can do, I know that most faculty members most professors do host office hours. So take advantage of those office hours. And that could be where you request the informational meeting. Go to their office hours, come prepared, have your questions ready, and just really help yourself stand out. And then finally, oftentimes students will graduate and then they don't stay in touch with their professors. And that makes it harder if in like 5 or 10 or 20 years you do decide to go to graduate school. If you haven't stayed in touch with the professors who have taught you on the undergraduate level, that's going to make it harder for them to write you a letter of a recommendation in the future. So just make sure that you're always following up and checking in, whether it's with your professors at your current institution or even, those professors that maybe you meet at conferences or the professors that you see yourself working with in graduate school. Next up, and I'm sorry, I don't think our photo came in, but peer connections. So another network that you're going to want to focus on building is actually your peer-to-peer network. That's just as important, when you are hopefully in the future looking for a job. You never know, who you may know that might be able to help you in your search, or who you may know that is in a current lab and knows of an opening and will stay in touch with you and kind of advocate on your behalf to their advisor. So how do you do that? Make sure that you get involved with your current university. So that could be joining different student organizations and study groups, different clubs on campus, and attending events that are hosted. In addition to that, make sure that you're a good partner when you collaborate on projects. That will help you, try to build those relationships. And then also just be proactive. Introduce yourself to classmates. I feel like, we're always looking for connections and how to make new friends even. And really it's about how do you put yourself out there. And you might need to be the one to make that first step, but, the rewards will pay off in the future. And finally, graduate connections. So every university, almost every single university across the country that has a graduate school program, will have people like Jesse and myself who are there and waiting and willing to help you navigate a graduate school, the graduate school application process, or even, on your current campus, your career centers. There's people there who are willing and ready and able to help you navigate the job process. So really it's about you. How do you kind of engage with these people, create that connection, and use them to your benefit? So for us, we offer one-on-one sessions, and we're always happy to meet with students one-on-one. We attend a ton of graduate school information sessions, whether it's in person or a virtual session like this. Jesse and I host monthly virtual sessions as well. And I know that my colleagues, I have this little picture here of all of the mascots throughout the UC. So like we have UC San Diego, UC Irvine, UCLA. I know all my colleagues at the other UCs do the same. In addition to that, kind of thinking about building your network. My network involves all my sister campuses. And I always say I would love it if you came to UC Merced, but UC Merced, we're a smaller school. Maybe we don't have the program that you're looking for. But I'm happy to be that network to connect you with the other campuses as well. So, again, don't be shy. That's why we're here. Unless you reach out to us and utilize us and add us to your network, we can't help you. And we want to help you. So just don't be shy, reach out. Like I mentioned, every university, for the most part, offers staff members like us who are ready, willing, and able to help you. And so I know we've kind of shared who you should be focusing on building out your network and how you can kind of start, but sometimes it's easier said than done, right? And so I know for myself, when I was first starting out kind of in my job field, and even today, I definitely get a little bit of networking anxiety. I think Jesse and I can probably both attest to sometimes we have to go to these large events and we have to do small talk with hundreds of people, and then on the other side, we do graduate school fairs where we get to talk to students like you, and that's easy. We love that. That's like not work at all. That's the fun part of our job. So just know that no matter where you're at in your career, there's going to be times where it's great and you love it, and there's going to be times where you're like, oh man, this is rough. So first, I think that's part of overcoming your anxiety is just knowing that it's normal. It's not really intuitive to kind of have to go out there and put yourself out there. But how do you overcome it? Well, first, you just have to change your mindset. You need to reframe networking instead of a chore, and instead, it's a relationship building opportunity. You'll never know who you meet. You might meet, your prospective advisor, just having a chat at a line in a conference. And when you start off, you don't have to jump into the deep end and start telling everybody about yourself and the research that you want to do or what your hopes and dreams are. But just start small, introduce yourself, kind of start off with light topics and then go from there. The conversation will naturally flow. And then it doesn't help to put yourself out there if you're not actually following up with others and maintaining relationships. So, for those of you who are part of McNair programs, or I think most of you are in the McNair program, I know that when you guys go to conferences, you guys often get business cards from your programs. Make sure when you go to conferences that you're taking your business cards, because if you give me your business card, there's a good chance I'm going to follow up with you afterwards and ask you if we can meet and talk further. Or I'm going to give you my business card. So just make sure that you're following up when those opportunities do present themselves. Okay. So next steps, what are some actionable things that you can do after this presentation to kind of start off, right? You got to start off somewhere. So I'm going to challenge all of you to think about the graduate schools that you would like to attend and maybe email a professor that you could see being your advisor. That or email one of your current professors and just, ask them to set up a meeting. Let them know that maybe you're thinking about graduate school or you're going to be graduating soon and are interested in the job market. And ask them if they have some advice and would be willing to meet with you and talk to you. Like I said, those are the people that when it comes time for letters of recommendation or references for jobs, that could really go a long way. Um, for those of you that really want to connect with other peers, join a student organization. I know as McNair Scholars, it's really cool. You guys get to already kind of be in this group with like-minded students with similar goals. So you've already taken that first step, but put yourself out there, join another, or go to a fun exercise class on your campus, but get out there and meet other people. Another thing you can do is attend an upcoming networking event. So I know for myself, I'm not sure if any of you will be there this weekend. There is the University of Maryland McNair conference. So I'll be there. So if you are there, let's meet up and you could practice your elevator pitch on me. But our team, we go to all of those conferences. So, come up with a couple lines about yourself. What is your elevator pitch? How do you talk to someone? How do you introduce yourself? And let them know who you are in 2 sentences and what you're interested in. It's a lot harder than you think, so start to kind of consider that and practice it. If you don't have a LinkedIn, LinkedIn is great for connecting with others and especially for actually staying in touch after you graduate from university. So go ahead. My advice would be to either create or update your LinkedIn and just make sure you have the most up-to-date information on yourself. Second, you can schedule an informational meeting. So, like I mentioned earlier, I think maybe Jesse can drop the link into the chat. Jesse and myself host one-on-one meetings with prospective students. If you aren't sure UC Merced would be a good fit for your school goals, that's okay. Schedule one-on-one. We can start your networking practice now, and I can tell you a little bit about graduate school. And if we're not the right spot for you, at least you've already taken that first step to kind of start thinking about graduate school. Finally, read books. I know for myself, I've done a lot of that to try to kind of get a little bit better because, like I mentioned earlier, it's not intuitive. I'm a bit more of introverted sometimes for me to kind of put myself out there. So there's good books out there. One classic book is like How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's by David Carnegie or Dale Carnegie. He gives advice on things like when you meet people, make sure that you say their name over and over again. People love to hear their name. He gives other advice, like when you're meeting people and try to create connections, that you ask a lot of questions to be more interested than interesting. And so I think that's always, kind of something I keep in mind when I'm trying to meet people or students. I want to know about you. I mean, I got things going on, but you don't want to know about me. I want to know about you. And that's really how you kind of create those connections with other people. And then finally, take advantage of opportunities. So I know for a lot of you, as McNair scholars, you are going to possibly get opportunities to go to conferences. You might be on the fence about attending them, but just go. It's going to be what helps you. It helps you get confident, and make sure that you're taking advantage of any opportunity that comes your way. You'll never regret, for the most part, I don't think, saying yes to something that's going to help you professionally or academically. And I think that's kind of the end of our slides here. So here's a link to our digital programs. If you are interested in UC Merced and you want to know more about what we offer 18 different graduate research-based graduate programs, PhDs and masters in disciplines ranging from like natural sciences to engineering and humanities. So I'll ask Jesse to maybe drop that link into the chat. If you have some time, check us out. And then you can contact me. Here's my email. You can also reach our larger team like Jesse at grad@ucmerced.edu. We are on social media, so if you want to see a little bit about kind of what we're doing on our campus and our graduate student life, I encourage you to check us out. But with that, we'll keep it short and sweet, and I will say thank you, everyone, for your time. I know we have some time for questions, so if anybody has questions or wants to know more, feel free to ask away, but I will stop sharing my screen now.
And feel free to either chime in or throw them in the chat, and I'll give it another minute or two for students who do want to contribute. And that's no worries if no students. Oh, we do have one new message. Let's see. Okay, do you have any tips on adapting our elevator pitch for different employers?
Yeah. So I always tell students, you know, you can have like this base elevator pitch that's kind of your standard, but you need to do your own research too. So, for different employers, I would always go to the employer's website, learn a little bit about their mission. Almost every company is going to have their mission, they're going to have their values, and they're probably going to have a new section of new things that are happening within that organization. So, depending on, what department or what part of the company you want to work with. I think that's a really good way to kind of learn a little bit more about what their overall focus is, but then also the new and up and coming things. In addition to that, don't be shy about looking up, like if you have a job interview with someone, and you know their names, look them up on LinkedIn beforehand and see, kind of what are they working on right now? What does it look like, that unit or department works on the most, or is kind of their value system or mission. And that's going to help you in a job interview to be able to kind of take that wording and also incorporate it into your thoughts. So again, do your own homework, kind of do a little bit of research, but even, 10, 15 minutes on that, that's going to help you stand out from somebody who didn't do those 10 to 15 minutes. So I hope that helps you, Evan. Yeah, so another student has asked, what are examples of questions you can ask a professor when going to office hours? So probably I would start off with letting them know your intentions. So either if you're going to office hours just to get help with, current work or something that you need help with, that's one thing. But if you're going to office hours, kind of based on what we are talking about today, how to build your network, getting some conversations going with graduate school. I would just let them know. Just say, Professor so and so, I'm considering applying to graduate school in a year or 2 years from now. I would love your advice on how to make myself competitive, or if you know of any opportunities here on our campus that would help me, whether it's research opportunities, class opportunities. You never know. They might be looking for someone to just help them in their classrooms or in their research labs. They might have a space for an open student, whether it's paid or unpaid. But that might be an opportunity for you to get some more exposure. They might know, again, going back to the idea of building their network of their colleagues who are looking for some help. But I would let them know what your intentions are and what your goals are. And then from there, that conversation will hopefully flow naturally. So I hope that also helps you. Yes, I can drop that link. I will drop it into the chat right now. Give me one moment.
And then a recording of this workshop will also be posted on our YouTube for those who want to go back and check it out as well.
Okay, and then here is a link. Okay, so let's see. How do you recommend following up with a professor or employer in a way that keeps the connection strong but doesn't feel pushy? So I think that's a question we get a lot from students, actually. So I would say that, come from an engaging place, come to them with like periodic updates. I wouldn't email them every single day. But if it's with a professor and you're in their class, that's one thing because you're going to be seeing them regularly, right? But if it's a professor that you've had maybe a year or two ago, just send them periodic emails and just be like, "Hi, I just want to check in. I was your student about 2 years ago. I really enjoyed your class and the subject matter on this." You could even look at their website and say, "I see that you've been working on this thing and it sounds interesting. I'll be interested in going to graduate school soon. I would love to stay connected to try to use you for a letter of recommendation." And it might not be you have to email them every year. It could just be you follow up once or twice every couple months or, every couple months. It's not like you're emailing them all the time, but you're just creating that connection over time so that they remember who you are. One thing I always get questions on is from students who have emailed our own professors to indicate interest in joining their labs or being a prospective graduate student. They might send that email and they never hear from our professors again. And what our professors always say is you may need to email them 2 or 3 times before they respond. And I think this is kind of, unfortunately, for better or worse, a natural response to email, right? You get an email, you see it come in, you say, "I'm going to respond," and then it gets pushed down to the bottom of the inbox. So you might think you're being pushy, but in actuality, they saw it, they meant to get to it, and they never got to it again. And so that's just kind of that gentle nudge or reminder. You'll find as soon as you have these connections, you start to create these connections, it should hopefully flow naturally, right? Because that's kind of what this relationship building is. It's just in the beginning, whether you're on your own campus, I think it will happen naturally going to office hours, speaking up in class. That will kind of create its own flow. And then with advisors or prospective faculty at other institutions, you may need to follow up 2 or 3 times. But again, after you make that first connection, and if it seems like there's some mutual interest, they may ask, like, "Let's set up a Zoom." You can ask to set up a Zoom and you want to talk to them a little bit more. And then from there, that connection will then start to feel natural because you'll get a feel by, your second or third meeting, like, is this the right fit? Do they seem interested in me? You'll kind of get the feeling for it. So I hope that helps you. Okay, any other questions?
It looks like that might be the end of our questions, but thank you so much, Jess, for coming and supporting our scholars and offering your valuable insights. I'm getting ready to post a post-event survey in the chat. So if you have the time, feel free to fill that out. Your feedback's greatly appreciated. If you have any further questions, you can email us directly at aap@ucf.edu. And then if you enjoyed this workshop presentation and want to see what other resources are available to you on campus, our link tree is right there. And again, as mentioned, a recording of this workshop will be posted to our YouTube if you want to access it at a later date. But again, thank you all for coming, and thank you again, Jess and Jesse, for being here. And I hope everyone has an enjoyable rest of your day.
Goodbye. Thank you, everyone.